Hello and welcome to Coffee Lovers TV. Joseph here. On the show today, we're going to be enjoying this Bali Kintamani Natural by Algorithm Coffee Company. Now, I ran across Aaron Hubbard, the owner of Algorithm, at the SCA Global Coffee Expo, and he gave me this bag of Bali so that we can try it out. Algorithm's pretty new. Started last year, based out of Berkeley. They were brewing at the Fellow booth, so Fellow gave me one of their Fellow drippers. I've done a video review on the Fellow, so you can go check it out. But we're going to be brewing the Algorithm on this Fellow. And it's, just give you a quick overview, it's kind of a cross between, in terms of the result that you get, a cross between a Kalita wave and a Chemex. So it's a bit more extracted, bit more full extraction than a Chemex, it appears, but it's a bit cleaner, smoother than a Kalita. So we're going to be doing that with the Bali, which is a pretty light roast if I recall. Oh yeah, it's a very light roast. It's a very fruity coffee. And their description is wild berry, exotic, complex. That's fair. I like the exotic description. Which I guess anything outside of the norm for coffee is probably would be considered exotic. Probably anything that's fruity for most people. Lots of wild berry, maybe a little bit of spice, chocolatiness to this. This is gonna be fun to brew up. So we're gonna go ahead and do that on the Fellow, and I'll be right back. The aroma of the grounds is of strong, rich, like sugary fruit. But it's got kind of a pungentness to it, like a winey kind of pungentness. This one's probably gonna have to cool a little bit as it after it brews. It's one of the things about drinking light roasted coffees is you really need them to cool off. Not insignificantly after they've been brewed. A coffee roasted light with skill, like a really well done light roasted coffee, will usually get better as it cools. You'll usually start discovering a lot more flavors as it cools. To me, it kind of like is a hallmark of the quality of the green coffee and how it's roasted. If after the coffee is cooled, it's as good or even better than when it was hot. So I've actually, a little sidebar here, I've actually been really enjoying the Fellow dripper. You probably know that I'm a big fan of the Kalita wave. I've been using that for quite a while. And this is quite similar in process. One of the things I like about the wave, which I do have here, with the Fellow filters in it, but the wave is you know, you put it on and you add the filter in the coffee and you brew. The Fellow is the same. You just get a bit of a different result in the end, just due to the way that the coffee brews in this device. But like I said, there's a whole video on that. Okay, so the Algorithm, it's definitely gonna need to cool a bit. I'm gonna pour a little in the mug and then I'm gonna let it sit and cool down so we can taste. And the aroma of this coffee, I'm getting a lot of like fruity, spicy, almost like the feeling of how like a cinnamon can like tingle your nose a little bit sometimes. I mean, it's all really subtle, these aromas. And in fact, I think a lot of it is maybe subdued a bit by the heat. It's still probably a bit too hot, but I'm gonna have a taste anyways. Yeah, when it's right off the brewer, I get like a subtle. Yeah, I think a really good comparison to tasting like fruit and stuff, fruit and floral type flavors in coffee, is if you've ever had like water infused products, or sorry, like water that's infused with like fruit. Not like where fruit's actually been added to the water, but where the essence of a fruit has been infused into the water, or like those dry sodas, which have like their flavors infused into them, but they don't. It's not like they have the actual fruit juice added to them. So if you've had those, then you have a really good, I think, can have a really good understanding of what it sort of tastes like to kind of taste the note or essence of another flavor in a drink. When I say something tastes like berries, it's not like drinking berry juice, but it's like, for complete lack of a better phrase, the essence of berry. And that's what this is, especially hot, because the heat kind of is overwhelming. What is now starting to peek through is the kind of like a bright, almost citrusiness, but I'm gonna say it's like a tart berryness. And I can taste some chocolate in there as well. This is a really enjoyable coffee. I think it really does want to cool off though. So it's a pretty smooth cup of coffee. I'm gonna owe a lot of that to the Fellow though. One thing I have noticed as I've compared Fellow Dripper side by side with the Kalita is that they can both accentuate flavors of a coffee really well. They do so in a little bit different ways, and the Fellow seems to come out just smoother. But it does seem to like kind of trim off a certain dynamic. It's like the Kalita brings out a bit more, but it gives you like a lot of like texture around the edges. And the Fellow just kind of smooths that down. And you still get the flavors, but compared to the Kalita has more, I don't know, maybe I want to say like aggressive richness around the edges. It's hard to describe going the other way, because my reaction with the Fellow is always, oh, that's smooth. And it does make a really smooth cup of coffee. And I don't know if that's the way it's brewed or if it's just the filter, because the filter on this is thicker than on the Kalita Wave. But the berry, and it's a good sweet berry. It's not like, when I said the aroma was sugary, berry rich, it's not like that in here. It's just like, it's not that dissimilar from like a tart wild berry. Not too tart, trying to put words to a subtle experience. I want you to cool off so I can taste you better. It's interesting, aside from the fruit, there are some layers of other flavors that I'm trying to figure out. Like, it seems like there's chocolate, it seems like there's some kind of nuttiness to it as well, but subtle. Seems like maybe there's a hint of melon in the background. But if we pull back and we just look at like the overall impression, we're looking at smells of berry, tastes of berry. There is a little bit of tart brightness in there. So yeah, I'd say definitely has the tartness and sweetness of some kinds of berries. Not like super rich sweet, just like just a little bit sweet. So it looks like unfortunately this coffee doesn't look like it's available on the website. I'm going to link to Algorithm's site, of course, below the video. If I can find the coffee on there, which I didn't as I just looked, I'll link directly to the coffee. If not, I'll link to all their coffees. They definitely got some skill in roasting. I think it's safe to say this coffee it's a really light roast, but it also has a good level of richness to it. So I would say if you're wanting to get into light roasts, it's not like, the one thing this doesn't come off like is tea. So that happens a lot in light roasted coffees, especially African coffees, Ethiopian coffees, which taste of fruit is they can also be a lot like black tea. This doesn't come off like black tea to me. There's a good level of richness and sweetness in there that keeps it from going that far. So as far as light roasted coffees go, it's a bit richer, I think, than a lot of light roasted coffees. But it is pretty darn lightly roasted, just visually looking. So keep that in mind when checking out Algorithm if you're ordering something of theirs. I didn't take a close enough look to see if they designate whether they roast bright, light, medium, or dark. But I would wager that their single origins are all pretty lightly roasted. Aaron looks like he's really looking to bring out the complex and interesting nature of the origin and the terroir of these coffees. So that's what I would expect from his other coffees as well. And I can say that's what I had with the other coffee that I had at the show. It was also pretty lightly roasted and delicious as well. So thank you, Algorithm, and thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. If you have any comments, just hit me up in the comments below. Any thoughts, any questions, any ideas, anything you'd like to know about this coffee or other coffees, just hit me up in the comments. And thank you for watching.